You might get nervous, just do it. And it will get easier from there. Go in with the spirit of giving. So you're not taking from them. You're trying to figure out what you can give back to them to add value.
Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. And now, here is your host, Michael J. Maher.
Welcome, everyone to an, and by the way, please note that I didn't say at everyone, like on Facebook groups, that's making everybody mad throughout all Facebook groups. I did not tag everyone where like you go to the group and you're thinking, oh my gosh, somebody tagged me. And then you get there and you realize it's the at everyone tag. So I just want you to know, everyone in this case is really just everyone who's listening to this. So that's you. So welcome to this podcast, another amazing podcast. I cannot wait to dive into it, but I'm going to give you a Facebook tip that I just went over with our lovely guest here today. And here's the thing. There's something called edge rank in Facebook. Edge rank is essentially when you post, how many people see your post. You may not realize this, but if you have 1,000 friends, like 17 of your friends actually see your post. Usually it's really, really low, but you can actually do something to manipulate edge rank. And what you can do is post something that a lot of people post on. And one of the epic Facebook posts of all time to generate debate, comment, sometimes controversy, is to post about pizza. And a great post is, I'm thinking about pizza tonight. That was the conversation we had. I'm thinking about pizza tonight. Where is the best pizza place in town? And just let them go. Let your friends just rally it up. And here's the other thing. You want to even add to that? In the comment, tag like 10 of your friends that you know pretty well and say, what's your feedback on this? Or what's your favorite pizza place? And that will start the bouncing going. So here's the thing. So you get 30, 60 comments, likes, whatever it is. Then you post your business post. Then you post that maybe you want more people to see, right? Celebratory, an award you got, a client you helped, whatever it may be, right? So there is a strategy to getting your post seen by more people. And honestly, that's a great one. So thanks to Becky for that conversation. And you can thank her too later. So here's the thing. I got to give a big shout out, speaking of pizza, to Michael Bradford on his review of the podcast on iTunes. And just so everybody knows, we are also on Amazon Audible right now, and you can listen for free on Audible. So if you have the Audible app, you can actually listen to Referrals podcast free. I'm not sure how long that is for free, or if you get grandfathered in, if you subscribe now. I'm just saying maybe you should subscribe now, just throwing it out there. So Michael Bradford said, keep bringing the heat, baby, which for some reason makes me think of pizza. I don't know why that is. Michael J. Maher brings the heat in all caps. I don't know if he meant some crazy acronym with that or just was yelling into his computer screen as he typed it. In every way, his material will absolutely cause you to binge listen to every podcast back to back. Keep it coming, MJM, which is my initial. That's me. Michael Bradford, you rock. I appreciate it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And thank you for binge listening to the Referrals podcast. Quick call to action. November and December are the best months for one-to-one meetings. Historically, my research, my experience, people are just ready to talk. They're ready to just review the year. They're in a contemplative, reflective state. I don't know what it is, but I have seen more relationships go from like a 7 to a 9 or 7 to a 10 in December at a one-to-one than any other month of the year. So it makes sense. We would have one-to-one mastery class during the last week of November and the first 2 weeks of December. Good news to the Referral Mastery Academy members, completely free to you. 100% part of your Referral Mastery Academy subscription. Thank you for being an RMA ambassador. And you can check out details on that at the number one, two, that's TO, mastery.com. 1TO1mastery.com. And that starts on November 27th. I hope you get a chance to check it out. Without further ado, one of our one-to-one greatest referral ambassadors, and honestly, one of my favorite people in Gen. And people are like, well, you say that a lot. And you know what? That's who we interview. I only interview my favorite people. Who the heck else would we have on? Like, Michael, I know you don't like this guy, but maybe have him on. It's like, no, I don't think that's a good idea, right? We could get into an argument. That'd be fun on the podcast. Our guest today is a realtor out of Milton, Massachusetts, which is just 8 miles south of the Boston area, originally from Maine, another MA start word. She is called Milton, Massachusetts, home for over a decade, drawn in by the location, community, and endearing small town charm. With a background in sales, management, and human resources, she has honed her expertise in customer service, organization, marketing, project management, and communication, all of which she now applies to her real estate career. Beyond her real estate endeavors, she, along with her husband and daughters, share a fervent passion for hockey. Additionally, her love for running serves as a means to explore new neighborhoods and stay in shape. A strong commitment to community service is central to her ethos, as evidenced by her active involvement in various local organizations and charitable initiatives, including her own Give Back campaign. Welcome to Referrals Podcast, Becky Davis.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I was blushing there for a minute.
And it's about stinking time. Like, how long have you been with RMA and Gen?
Probably a little over a year and a half. So
Okay.
January 22.
So that's
I
what's
believe.
interesting. We talk about relationships a lot on here. I feel like I know you really well, right? 18 months. And what's amazing is you jumped in 100%, right? So the fact is you showed up a lot, and so that it becomes more familiar. And familiarity leads to referability. We just covered that with the 3 C's. And it feels like a lot longer than 18, 19 months. It really does. It just feels like we've been friends forever.
Lifetime.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, all right. So speaking of building relationships to the point of BFF, right? Let's start off talking about networking. You recently took the one-to-one mastery class from Referral Mastery Academy with myself and Tara Carter. Why did you sign up for that class, first of all? I'm always curious about this stuff, right?
So I attended the amazing RMS, which is your Referral Mastery Summit in December. And I caught her bonus session of the one-to-one networking stack and was immediately drawn in. She has such energy and excitement for what she does that you immediately just want to do what she's doing. So kudos to Tara. So she's so easily described what the networking stack was and the one-on-ones as if it was like the easiest thing in the world and everyone does it. And this was just like life.
Yeah.
So, which doesn't always happen
It's
like
still
that.
a skill. It's still a skill, right?
It is.
It's something to be learned. It's easy for her. She's done, I don't know what it is over the last 4 years, like 500 stacks since I've known her, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those, like, I think the first thing is, what were you looking to get out of it? And I love the first thing that you said that you may not have identified and verbalized, but you said it, is that, part of what we want are the energies of the instructors, right? I want to be as passionate about these one-to-one things as Tara and Michael are, right? And guess what? That's a part of Referral Mastery Academy. That's a part of what I love about what we do, is like, why I want her energy for it, right? And if she's that energetic about it, I could probably get something from it, right? So what were you looking to get out of it other than that?
So I was really looking for it. So one-on-ones aren't super natural to me. I love being around people. I think you would call me a shy extrovert, which is, if that's even a thing.
Yeah.
But
we're all ambiverts, right?
yeah,
There's extroverted, there's introverted, but nobody is very few people are 100% introverted and very few people are extroverted. Neither one get anything done, right? I mean, they just don't. They cope with life, but we're all ambiverts. So, you're probably a 5 or 6 in that, introvert extrovert scale, right? So all good. And by the way, I want everybody to know too that you do have a high C component, right? On DISC. We talk about DISC on this a lot. And I can relate to that as well because I do have a strong C as well. So, you're going to implement these things perfectly or not at all, right? And that sometimes makes us not want to implement at all because it's like, well, if it ain't going to be perfect, then maybe we don't do it, right?
mm-hmm.
So, I think, what did you get out of it? Like, what did you learn first?
So I feel like it was at a perfect time in the year because it's in the middle of the summer. My 2 kids are off. It's notoriously unstructured, and I love structure. I love a schedule. And so I can grasp at anything to make it a little bit more scheduled for myself, even though I was between 2 states. But so that was one of the main things I wanted to grab from it. But also, I just wanted to get more bite-sized pieces of how to fit it into my life and be able to implement it, and maybe not at a perfect 10 immediately, but like, how do I get started? I already had the place because I've been doing one-on-ones, but not necessarily to the extent that Tara does, obviously. So I just wanted to get
Let's
better.
give a shout out. Let's give a shout out
Steel
to
and
the
Rye,
rest.
Milton, Mass.
What is it again? Say it.
Steel and Rye.
Okay.
It's great. And in COVID, it went from just an evening restaurant to they opened a bakery. So now it's a coffee shop, it's lunch, it's a bakery, it's dinner. It's amazing and love them.
What hours are they open?
They're open 8 to
like
midnight.
10 or 11, right?
Mm-hmm.
8 to 10 or 11, right? So that's awesome. So you can do your breakfast stack, you could do a lunch stack, or you could do a night stack. What made you decide to choose them as your home court advantage, right? Like because there's a lot of restaurants in your area that you could have chosen. And so what kind of made them perfect?
So when I first started, I was like, where can I go that a lot of people go anyway? It's not too busy. It's a place that I can go. This was my first time being an entrepreneur and doing my own hours and not having an office to go to. And so I wanted to have a place that I could go and work from as well. And that was a place that that worked for me. And now it's because of all the people. Like when I walk in, it doesn't matter if I order my standard bubbly water. George sees me come in and brings it to my table if I'm not sitting with him usually I just work from the bar area. I don't drink at 9 a.m., but I
All
do
good.
I enjoy talking to him. So if I don't have a stack scheduled, I'll work from there. But he'll see me come in even across the room and he'll bring it. So it's just that type of relationship that you build when you go to the same place all the time.
Feels like family, right?
Mm-hmm.
You become a regular. And it sounds like it's got a lot of variety for relationships, right? My EBT it had a bar area, but man, it was you couldn't smoke in there, but it had that smoky corner, dark feel, right? No matter what the time it was. And, that was but luckily I was doing lunch stacks. So for lunch, they were great. And they weren't that busy for lunch. So until I started talking about it and telling everybody that that's where my home court advantage was, then they started to get really busy at lunch. And it was like, I probably should have kept this myself. But so I love that, they've got the bar aspect, the bakery aspect, they've got the lunch aspect, and they've got the dinner aspect. So different settings. So you don't have to choose 3 different home court advantages for different times of meetings, right?
Nope.
Love it.
All in one.
And you can have some privacy there, sounds like, right, to work. All right. So that's the home court advantage. Let's talk about the networking stack that you learned from one-to-one mastery. So how did you fill maybe describe the networking stack to our listeners, and then how did you start to fill yours?
So in a perfect world, it would be I usually do my networking stacks in the morning and then end with lunch. just because of my schedule. So I would have an appointment at 9 a.m. And then I would ideally plan whoever's coming in at 10 to overlap that person so I can introduce them so that they will, even if they don't know that they want to know each other, they at least leave with another contact. And then so on and so forth throughout the day. So I usually do 3, and like on a strong day, maybe 4. And it doesn't always work that they're there until the next person comes in, or that they even, like, if it works out, it works out. And if not, like, no big deal. So, so that's ideally how it works.
So let me just I'll regret. So you do what I would almost call like a breakfast stack that ends in lunch. So you have a 9, a 10, and an 11, and then you eat lunch, right?
Yep.
Or you have a 9, 10, and then 11, and then eat lunch after, or noon, eat lunch with someone, right?
Yep.
Okay. And ideally that they would stay for an hour, because at the end of the hour, you would introduce them to each other, and, you'd get a chance to go get a breath of fresh air, or go to the restroom, or like whatever it is, give them a chance to meet each
Yep.
other. Okay. All right. So I've got the stack. I love that you ended at lunch, because that kind of gives you an end of the, like, that part of the day. Right. So then you can do appointments or whatever in the afternoon.
Yep.
So love that. Okay. So, what is your goal during the networking stack, or what's your goal during the one-to-one meeting? Do you feel like you have a goal?
My goal is always to get to know that person more and figure out a way to help them if I don't already know going into it. So there's really not a hugely structured goal. It's just like, how can I find out more?
So you do that with questions, I'm guessing,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah,
So
I
what
usually use Frog.
Yeah. Okay. So you use Frog. What's Frog for those that are new to us?
Which is family, recreation, occupation, and goals.
All right.
So it makes, like, as the shy extrovert, it actually helps me figure out how to keep a conversation going. I always was a little bit nervous having to be the focus of a conversation. So I love being the one that asks the questions and then, like, get more information from other people. And that helps me, because if there's a lull in conversation, I can always just ask another question and then get them talking more.
That's right. And people do love to talk about themselves. Most people do love to talk about themselves. We don't. That's why we form this entire question-based Socratic process that, we do across Gen. It's all based on really arming ourselves with questions so that we don't have to talk about ourselves. I mean, that's what's so crazy about it. But all right. So, so give me some examples of Frog questions that you've asked before, right?
So this time of year is easy. Like, had the kids make it off to school, or like, what school are they in now? What grade? Are they starting sports already? Are you, do you have any tournaments coming up? What did you do over the summer? Did you go anywhere? What, my favorite, because I ask this to most people, what's your favorite travel, like your bucket list travel destination? Because that always gives me a homework assignment if I can't find another one, because usually you can find something to follow up with on that.
And when you say homework assignment, we need to explain that for the crowd, for the people in the back.
So I always need a goal, and the goal is to find out more. And the end goal is to find out a homework assignment to be able to follow up with something, add value in some way.
Yeah. So you're looking for an action item that you can go and just knock their socks off with some cool thing, right? So let's say if their travel destination, which is just such a great question anytime, so let's say they say it was Greece and Italy. What would be a typical follow-up for you?
So the easiest thing is, and it goes a long way, is get on Amazon. I don't know what I would do without Amazon Prime, seriously. Yeah. Get on Amazon, find a couple of travel books and send them to them. They get them the next day with a little note from me, and it's a thank you. This is to, like, read up on your bucket list travel. Hopefully it happens this year, whenever.
Love it.
Like something better than that, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. I love it. I love it. What's the greatest response you've ever gotten from a homework assignment? Like what's one that you really recollect as a memorable, like they were just thrilled, or they called you and said, "Oh my gosh, that's cool."
Mine was, so I got two really good ones, but one of them was the bucket list, and it was Italy, and she was going there not this year but next year. So I sent a book, and she just called me. Because it was a friend of my daughter, or it was a mom of my friend's daughter, my daughter's friend. Does that make sense? My daughter's
Yes.
friend's
Yep.
moms.
Yep.
So it was like it wasn't like a business meeting I was going into. It was going in to meet another mom that I don't know that well. And I get a homework assignment because I find out her bucket list is to go to Italy because she hasn't been before. And I send the book, and she called me as soon as it got there and was like shocked. And like, it makes you feel good when you do something. Like, I just want to do that to make her feel good. And then she does it and then makes me feel good. And it's like one of those vicious cycles.
So how much did it cost you?
Like $5.99 or something. It's like,
did you get
much.
the Rick Steves one?
It was, I think so. It was like the number one voted.
Yeah, that's probably
Italy
Rick
tour
Steves.
book. Mm-hmm.
That guy owns the guidebook, travel guidebook business. Okay, what was the other one? All right, so that was a good one. And you didn't really have any relationship with her at all, right?
So like only by like periphery, really, not really. We hadn't had lunch. We hadn't, you know what I mean? So it was just like, it was a friend's mom.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, it was like a zero relationship, 0+. You heard the name, but didn't know. And, on a scale of 0 to 10, where would you put that relationship now?
Like a 10.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like $5.99. How much is that worth? Right. I mean, that's awesome. 10. All right. So what was the other one? People are begging to know, right? I mean, this is what we do in Gen. And isn't it fun?
Yeah, it's great. I'm blanking on the name of the place right now, but so it was, I had been introduced to an attorney. I had used her once, and we met for lunch. She ended up being a sponsor of two of my events. And so we were meeting and talking about that. And I don't think we discussed it, but she has a summer house in Rhode Island. And to thank her, I remembered it from the last time. So to thank her, I sent a candle that's also a reusable glass that has the name of where it is. And I'm blanking, and I feel bad about that, but it's in Rhode Island. So now she'll have, if she does burn the candle, she'll have the glass to use in her vacation home. And if not, it will just be on the shelf.
Yeah, I love it. Or she'll use it at home to remind her that she needs to go to her vacation house.
Yep.
Right. All right. So I love that. So all of a sudden, this is what I love. All of a sudden, you're getting really good at these one-to-ones. So what it does is it builds confidence, and competence leads to confidence. And when we have that confidence in a one-to-one, we're thought, you know what? I'm pretty good at this networking thing. I think I'm going to start networking. So tell us about the charity networking group you joined and how you're involved with that.
So I joined, it was probably about a year ago. I joined the Boston Women in Business for Good. So it's a charity networking group where we get together, we volunteer, and we donate. So all of our member dues goes to the charity of our choice quarterly. So we hold an event, which is a gathering grant, and our members nominate. We usually want 3 charities to come to the event to talk about what they do, how they help people, and where our money would go. And then we vote electronically on who wins. And then whoever wins, they get the money. So in the last year, we've just been a group for a year, we've donated over $25,000. And next month's event, our goal is $7,500 to give to whoever we vote on next month.
Wow. Let's go.
So it's like a huge impact, and it's mainly local places, and it's a Boston group. So it's not necessarily Milton, but it's like, we're 8 miles from Boston, and really parts of Boston are like a half mile from me. So it's all my community. And so there was a call out for a couple leadership opportunities last fall, right after I joined. And one happened to be events and sponsorships. And I learned so much from you personally from Event Mastery and also from doing my own events that I'm like, yes, please. So I've been doing the events since then. So I put together the gathering grants each quarter, and then we usually do virtual, like a not your average networking thing, and then we need to add more volunteer work, but work in progress.
Wow. Now, do you use this to fill your stack?
I do sometimes. It's a little bit more difficult because it's not necessarily like super local. So I've been actually thinking of finding another home court in Boston proper so that I can go there like even once a month or once every quarter, really, to like do follow-ups from that event so that I can just fill with those.
I'm sorry. Does this just jumps out? Is Cheers the bar an option? I mean, come on. Like, you go there, everyone knows your name, or
Right.
at least that's what they say.
Right. I should check that out.
Come on. I mean, is that too easy? That was too easy. I think that was just too easy. It's like
that was a layup for you.
For the millennials, go Google Cheers. All right. So let's switch gears a little bit and just talk about your Give Back campaign that you started last year, right? So what is it? Why'd you start it? And how does that relate to the Gathering Grant, right?
So I think it is like supplemental because it's more personally for my business. It's a charity-driven initiative where I make a donation for every sale to the charity of my client's choice. And then I also tie all of my personal events to a local charity. So I love it because I can make a difference in my own community, not just by personally donating to them, but also to inspire others to kind of help and build support for local causes. So my event next month is going to be for the food pantry. And the one I had last month was for like a local art gallery that have like kids go and do art classes.
Okay. Wow. So then my next question is really, how do you incorporate the charity into your events, right? So how do you do that? Like, what specifically do you do to let people know what charity is, the charity of choice is, that kind of thing?
So I always have it on my invite. I specifically put it on like I don't send out paper invites, but on the actual like form of the invite, I have their logo. And then I also put it into the electronic part of the invitation with more information about their organization and also a link directly to donate so that if they do it beforehand, then that is an opportunity. I also put it in if it's an event I'm advertising on social media, I'll also like that's always a call out that it's for this organization. Like I just did a movie night in the park and that was for the art club, the Milton Art Center. So they also shared my event to everyone in Milton as well and had a link to sign up. They also had, it wasn't just a movie in the park. We had them come 2 hours early so that there was an art table that Milton Art Center ran. We had face painting. We didn't end up having face painters. So all the kids got to paint each other's faces, which I think was the hit of the entire event.
What a great spin. I love it. Instead of having actual face painters, we're just going to let them paint each other's face. That had to be awesome.
I think next year we're just going to do that. Like we are not having face painters because they just had so much fun.
That's a nugget. That's a pearl right there. People need to write that down. Is forget having the little official face painters that take 30 minutes to do one face. Like 30 seconds, those kids will paint each other like nobody's business. I love it.
That's right.
And you said so many, like, here's what I love. Like, you've got so much momentum right now in a lot of the stuff you're doing. You know what I mean? Like you just gotta love the activity, right? And I mean, just like you said, the art center shared your movie night in the park. Mm-hmm. That's so subtle. You just blurred by it. I mean, you just talked about it and went on, but like, that's a big deal. That's a big deal is that, I mean, people are spreading the word about you because you're doing great things and you're partnering. I mean, is there anything that spreads as faster as generosity? It just, I don't know. It's just amazing what you're doing here. How many events did you do this year?
So
actually host. I know you went to quite a few, right?
So we're not counting gathering grants,
That's right.
right?
Well,
Just for my own company.
yeah, just for your own company.
So this will be my third. I had pickleball event and movie night in the park. And then I had, by popular demand, I'm bringing back the pumpkins and portraits, or portraits and pumpkins. I can't remember what it's called.
Where we have pumpkins and portraits,
pumpkins and portraits.
Yeah.
We do micro sessions of my photographer does a free digital copy for anyone that comes so they can use it for their holiday card. And I personally make apple cider donuts and pumpkin muffins with my mom.
When is that?
October 21st.
If
you want to come up to Boston,
make sure I get invited to that one. Yes. Love that. Wow. I'm getting hungry. I don't know what this pizza talk and apple.
I know, a lot of food.
Apple cider muffins. Is that what you said?
Apple cider donuts and pumpkin muffins.
Oh my God. Can I just take a moment right now? I mean, like, wow. Very cool. And are those going to be your standard 3 events a year, your all gaps?
Probably. So my pickleball one was smaller. So it was for like 12 people.
Okay.
So, and then I'll probably do a smaller one like in December for like probably the same people.
Yeah.
So maybe a bigger one. The issue I'm running into, not really an issue, it's a good problem to have, is that my bigger events run into the same time frame as my gather and grants. So they're 2 days apart this next month, which is not ideal. No. But it's good. It gets me in, like, now I'm in invitation mode, and then I'll do the same thing for everyone. I'll just be busier.
So, I mean, and this might be a selfish question. So did the event mastery stuff help you with being the event coordinator for the gather and grant stuff? I mean, are they just like, oh my God, Becky, that's the greatest idea ever? I mean, have you had any of those moments, or are you just incorporating a little bit slyly?
So no, I do most everything. So this is the first time I'm taking over the invitation, because one of the other people, our communications lead, has a person that was sending invites, and I kind of, maybe it's the control freak in me, but I like to see numbers and that I can personally follow up, and requesting a spreadsheet of who is in wasn't good enough for me. So I needed to do it myself. So I feel like I'll have more of a idea of numbers, because our numbers have been small. We have 180 on the books as members, and have like probably 35 people that come. Yeah. But they're giving their money. So like, we'll take your money. We also want you to come to the event, but like.
Yeah. Well, at a certain level, right? People trade money for time, right? So, I kind of get that, but I think there's a huge opportunity this November and December to maybe make some calls. Mm-hmm. and do the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire strategy. Is like, what is an event that you would love to attend? And I mean, 180, you can make 180 calls in 2 months pretty easily, on top of, being a great mom, being a great realtor, and it doesn't have to be you. You could write the questions and have, somebody else call them too.
Yeah.
Your communications person might get on board, right? And especially if there's pizza and wine and apple cider donuts involved.
That's right.
I'm just telling you, we got to come back to that conversation. So, all right. So what are you going to do differently next year? Right. So you've kind of got this rhythm. I feel you've got a rhythm, and you're a structured person. So rhythm means a lot. What does 2024 entail? What kind of changes or differences are you gonna look into doing?
So I think
the pickleball's got to go, right? It's got to be, you got to maybe do something differently there, right? And maybe that's incorporated. I don't know.
So the problem is, I love pickleball now, because I now started playing it personally, but I feel like I could do it where we can incorporate it on a bigger scale too. So it might be something. I think my favorite part of having this momentum with my events this year is that I have more of a plan of what I will do next year. I will definitely do the movie night next year. It was a huge success, even though we almost blew away in the beginning. But and the pumpkin one will be is there. My photographer is still on board. Last year she got 9 referrals from that one photo shoot. She got 6 from the movie night because she was my photographer there too. So she is on board. And so I think I would like to add one more big one that I have to figure out. But in the spring, like in the
January, February, March, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it could be like the coffee one. And I was actually thinking of doing, if we do it during the day, I could do it at Steel and Rye because they have the coffee shop, and it could be
probably
like,
love you for that. I would guess that's probably their lowest volume time because they started as a dinner restaurant, so that might be a win-win type of scenario there.
Yep. So that's definitely in the plan. So I just love having a plan, especially, and we're getting together as the Boston Women in Business for Good to make the plan for next year for that one too, because that is kind of like an animal that we just need to kind of harness. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Here's what I love. So here's what I would suggest on that. Do the one for the Boston group, right? And that's going to force you to think like that and then put your own together, like literally the next weekend. Or, if you do it on Thursday, do it Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and just come up with your plan. That's where the 252-week plans that you know about from the All Yaps and Top Yaps came from. Is I just like, what would I do every week of the year if these were my events, And I mean, it's so easy to function on a weekly schedule when your whole schedule is like write 25 notes. And I'm not the one to write 5 notes a day. I'm much better at Monday writing 25 notes, and then I'm done for the week. Right. So, love that. And all right. So we've talked a lot about like one-to-ones and how important they are during this time of the year. If, what words of wisdom would you give to somebody who, is maybe hesitant to start meeting one-to-one with people? What would be some words of advice you would give them?
First, just do it.
Yeah.
You might get nervous, just do it. And it will get easier from there. Go in with the spirit of giving. So you're not taking from them. You're trying to figure out what you can give back to them to add value. And start with friends. It's easier to make a coffee date or have wine in the afternoon with a friend and then practice your questions and get a homework assignment and follow up and blow their mind. And you just like got practice doing it. So I would just say, just do it.
And not only that, go in with a plan, right? You have a great plan, very simple, very, very good plan. And, you were hesitant. You were, and I want to give a shout out to like Kimmy Spencer, right? Kimmy Spencer called me the first week of one-to-one mastery. And she goes, I am scared out of my mind. I'm in one-to-one mastery and I have never done any one-to-ones. And I'm like, oh my God, this lady is a top producer with 2 of the most awesome daughters, outgoing daughters in the world. Like they're all super articulate. All 3 of them are super articulate, friendly. And like, you haven't done one-on-ones. She hosts an event for widowers at her house. Right. And it's like, oh my gosh, you have so, but anyway, I hear you talking to her right now with that advice is just do it, go in with a plan, and it's all going to go well. It's going to go well. Don't schedule it for 90 minutes. I would say that's one thing maybe to avoid is don't make it too long. If you're scared of an hour, make it 30 minutes, make it a 30-minute meeting. I will tell you one of the reasons that the networking stack became the networking stack was because I did have a tendency to make like meetings last for like 8 hours. Like I would just start with the person and then a couple people come in, and before we know it, it was 5 o'clock, and it's like, well, let's start drinking something, right? I mean, it's like, and that was not good. So the nice thing is a networking stack is like when they came in, that meant I had to end this one. So I would end on time, not because of me, because I felt like it would be rude for me to say, you got to go now, or I'm just tired, or, I'm done talking. I'm worded out today. And instead it's somebody, my 2 o'clock's here. You know what? I appreciate, you should meet my 2 o'clock. You guys should meet. Oh my God, you guys don't know each other. You should meet so I can go to the bathroom, and it's like, I just drank a gallon of tea in the last 3 hours. So that was one great thing is sometimes we get afraid of, we don't know how to end it. Well, when you've got a person coming in, you can gracefully exit one and enter the other. You can also be really strategic with them. That's what I love is, I remember I had one where I had a builder that was a really good friend of mine and a developer that didn't know me at all. Scheduled my developer after my big raving fan ambassador lunch with Jeff Crooks. Had a great lunch with him. And then he met the developer. Jeff's a strong personality, 6'6", like awesome dude. And he's just like, you got to use Michael, right? It's like, how do you know Michael? And so I met with the developer and he talked about the plans and I asked a lot of questions. And then he met, what does the developer want to do? They want to sell lots to builders. And then I introduced him to a builder friend of mine who was probably interested in ended up buying 4 or 5 lots in the development. And so guess what? I got that development because of the strategy of the home court advantage with the networking stack. That's not the only one. Just put ambassadors next to new people and you will win. And so they're just so much good here. Becky, you rock. I'm telling you, like I said, you're one of my faves in the group. And it is amazing how much I feel like I know you and that we're friends. And it's only been 18 months, but it is that familiarity concept. It just, you want to make an impact in a community, show up often. So I love it. I appreciate it. And I really appreciate you, Becky. And we're going to have you on as a guest again. This is we really honestly didn't get a chance to talk about your event sequence in your series as much as I'd like to. So I'd love to have you back. Would you be willing to come back?
Would love to. This was awesome. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, Becky Davis out of Milton, Massachusetts. You've got, and by the way, Becky, if they want to reach you, how would they best reach you before I let?
My website's Milton Homes for Sale with the number 4 because it's my favorite number. And also my cell phone. You can call me.
Awesome. And who is your favorite hockey player of all time?
Gretzky.
Oh, it's
old school.
It's got to be 99, right? It's got to be right. One of the best quotes ever from Gretzky is don't skate to where the puck is, skate to where the puck will be. Isn't that the real estate market of today? Right? Some people are still selling like it's 2022. No, we got to go to where it's going, right? When a downward market, price it down. I'm just telling you, that's a strategy. It is what it is. Thank you, Wayne Gretzky, for that word of advice for our real estate market today. So awesome stuff. Make sure that you check out our stuff. Any of your Boston referrals, please give Becky a call. Make sure it happens. And ladies and gentlemen, I would be remiss if I didn't just implore you, nearly beg you, to check out one-to-one-mastery.com. The number 1, TO, number 1, mastery.com. One-to-one-mastery.com with Tara Carter and myself. I'm going to help teach it again this November and December, and I hope you'll join us. And speaking of joining, join GenGen.com. If you're not a member of our referral group, we can't refer you. Really, that's how it works. So if you want to get referrals, join GenGen.com. JOINGENGEN.com. Last but not least, please rate, review, let us know what you think of the podcast. You can do it right there, wherever you're listening or watching this, on YouTube, where Audible, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, wherever you're listening. Please let us know how we're doing. Otherwise, we'll see you in the Join Gen group. We'll see you in the Generosity Generation. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Generosity Generation, and we will see you next time on Referrals Podcast.